I'm Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilts, and today I would like to introduce you to my latest product, the Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut Shapes. Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut Shapes are designed to make fussy cutting easy. Each shape has a 1/4 inch gray edge to define the seam allowance. This enables you to focus on the interior space of the shape and know exactly what will appear in the finished shape. Most shapes have centered crosshairs to help you with positioning an image within the shape. Downloadable PDF instructions are available now. The link to access them is below in the video description. Let's learn more about the half hexagon. The half hexagon from the Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut set is one of the most versatile pieces. It can be used in these patterns: alphabet soup, sweet tooth, snack time, park bench, glazed donuts, lucky charm, gazebo, and tasty. In all of these patterns, it's used in different ways. There are actually 6 different ways to fussy cut with this shape. You can fussy cut as seen here with the biggest side on the bottom. You can do it this way with the biggest side at the top. You can then also do it this way, this way, this way, and this way. It really opens up so many possibilities. Carefully pay attention to whichever pattern you choose to make sure that you maximize your fussy cutting abilities. For example, in Lucky Charm, we're going to be cutting half of the pieces like this and half of the pieces like this. If you're fussy cutting a flower or something that is less directional, it doesn't matter. But if you're fussy cutting adorable little creatures, you want to make sure that they're standing on their legs and not standing on their heads. So pay close attention to whichever pattern and the orientation before you get started on your fussy cutting. The half hexagon, which is often also referred to as a half hex, has crosshairs here in the center. They mark exactly the center of the shape. Additionally, it has a gray outline that shows where the seam allowance will be. So that means the half hex shape that I see inside that gray is exactly what I'll get when I fussy cut whichever one of my creatures that I want. Now I am going to be cutting for the letter O in alphabet soup, and so I am going to need a variety of orientations of my half hexagon. The first one that I'm going to need is like this. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to lose a little bit of his tail up there, but that's okay. I'm going to use my center mark to help guide. And then I'm just going to slightly move this to aid in my cutting. Rotary cutter safety is very important, and I don't want to cut towards myself. So by turning it, I'll be able to cut both of these sides. If I had it like this, I can really only cut one side to start, and I want to cut as much as possible in the beginning so that I have points to use for alignment when I need to replace my half hexagon in just a moment, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to hold that in place. I've got a nice new fresh sharp blade in my rotary cutter. And now if you have a rotating mat, you could use that, or you can just rotate your fabric around, and that's what I'm going to do. And if your piece doesn't move, great. If it does, not a problem. We're just simply going to realign it on the marks we've already cut. So I'm going to line up. There we go. And now cut, and cut, and cut that final blunt corner. That's really going to help with alignment. I'll show you more about that in a bit. So there's my first little creature. So now I am going to figure out which direction I need to cut next and which one of my little creatures here is going to best fit in the direction that I need. So I'm going to need this direction as well with my creature base here and my long along my right side. I'm going to get that set up. And since I am so close to 2 other ones here that are basically edges of the fabric, I'm going to trim that completely now as opposed to just cutting a hole. I often just cut a hole and turn my fabric into Swiss cheese and then continue fussy cutting. So again, I'm going to rotate this around. And in this case, I have enough fabric cut away that I can just flip it all out of my way for now. Line my piece back up and finish cutting. I have 2 of my shapes cut, and for my letter O that I'm working on, I need to cut 1 more, and I need it in this orientation with my long side up here. So I moved it around until I found the creature that I liked best, which is this little one here. And I'm going to get it just lined up. And since I'm in the middle of the fabric here, I'm going to go ahead and just create a hole. So again, cut. I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, this will be backwards. You just want to make as many cuts as possible with your first go without cutting towards yourself, because that's not safe to do. So rotate it around and line it back up. And just to be safe, going to turn it one last time. Fussy cutting is definitely more time intensive than just rotary cutting from strips, but the payoff really is worth it to have these tiny cute little creatures perfectly in the shapes that you're making. In this example, I'm going to show with the long side up top. So I've got my crosshairs on top of my little creature, and I've got it centered. And again, I'm just going to move this piece, since I'm right-handed, nice and slow so I don't move my half hexagon. And I'm going to cut, 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 and rotate this around. This is the beginning of my letter O block, which is going to have a full hexagon in the middle. And I mentioned earlier that these blunt corners will come in handy. And this is one example where. If you had sharp points, when you flipped it over onto here, you wouldn't know exactly where to line it up. But by having that blunt point, I know to line it up exactly right there, so my pieces will line up perfectly. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this video was helpful for you, please like it, leave a comment below, and subscribe to this channel. Your support makes a big difference in letting me know what kind of content you enjoy here on my YouTube channel and what types of products and quilt patterns to offer. Join me for my upcoming sew-alongs, where I'll guide you through making a fussy cut rock candy table topper and the letters, numbers, and projects from the Alphabet Soup book using these fussy cut shapes. You can sign up for the new sew-alongs at the same link below, where you can request the PDF fussy cut shape directions. See you soon!